Good Sunday morning and welcome to another edition of At Issue. I'm Cory Smith.
And I'm Sue O'Connell. Coming up in just a minute, we're going to speak with Massachusetts Attorney General Andrea Joy Campbell on a range of issues, including that lawsuit that her office filed against the town of Milton for failing to comply with the state's MBTA communities law.
Before we sit down with her, let's take a look back at a very busy political week. Here's what was at issue last week.
President Biden and former President Donald Trump winning big during Super Tuesday's primary races.
Both the president and former President Donald Trump both dominating Super Tuesday races, guys, piling now onto their delegate count.
Nikki Haley officially bowing out of the race, addressing supporters in her home state of South Carolina.
But the time has now come to suspend my campaign.
And tonight in his State of the Union address, President Biden formally announced the U.S. will establish a temporary port in Gaza to increase the flow of humanitarian aid.
And this was an election year speech, there's no doubt about it. On Washington's biggest night,
the President of the United States.
The 2024 presidential election quickly coming into play.
My inherited economy is on the brink. Now our economy is literally the envy of the world.
And in their rebuttal, Republicans countering the president's points.
Under his administration, families are worse off.
Well, as more migrants arrive in the Bay State, lawmakers approved a House bill. It limits the stay in the program to 9 consecutive months, with an additional 3 months for those employed in a job training program, veterans, pregnant women, and certain families or individuals.
All right, another busy week of politics here in the Bay State and around the country. All right, elected leaders in Milton are figuring out their next step after being sued by the state for failing to comply with the MBTA communities law.
Yeah, it requires communities near MBTA train stations to approve zoning, which allows for the construction of affordable housing. It does not require the housing to be built.
Massachusetts Attorney General Andrea Joy Campbell filed the suit nearly a year after she warned in an advisory that cities and towns considering not abiding by the law would face legal action. Joining us to talk about this case and so much more is Attorney General Andrea Joy Campbell. We appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, so we realize you may not be able to say as much as you'd like about this case, but I know you've said you hope other communities don't go down the road that Milton has. We do know that some are maybe considering it. What is your message to those communities who may try to call the state's bluff on this?
Well, we're clearly not bluffing, right? We've kept our word and been, I think, over-communicating, frankly, with respect to the MBTA communities law. But I want to take a step back because the majority of municipalities are actually in compliance or coming into compliance. And I think there is a narrative out there that suggests the opposite. So if you think about rapid transit communities, 11 out of 12 are in compliance, but the only exception or outlier is Milton. So one, we're proud of that, and we're proud of the technical assistance we're offering. We've been reasonable every step of the way. First year in office, I put out an advisory making it crystal clear to municipalities all across the Commonwealth that compliance with the MBTA communities law is not voluntary, it is mandatory. And I, along with Secretary Augustus and the administration, have been offering technical assistance. Milton has received some of that. They've gotten grants from the state to help them develop a zoning plan. So it's unfortunate that a select few, including some folks on the planning board, are looking to work against the implementation of this mandatory law. And why is this important? We're obviously in a housing crisis. It's also a tool to close the racial wealth gap. We don't need another report on that. Housing dictates so much, and if we want our state to continue to be innovative, for our economy to continue to grow, this is an effective tool, a bipartisan effort that will make us not only more successful, but help us really address the housing crisis. So we're going to do our part, but of course work with municipalities every step of the way.
So one thing we heard from Milton folks is we're not opposed to building more affordable housing. We just don't think this plan works here. And they turn to the fact that, you know, Milton is considered one of these rapid transit communities because the Mattapan trolley line runs through there. Based on ridership, though, the trolley line should be treated the same as a bus line, and the town would need to approve zoning changes for a smaller number of units, et cetera, et cetera. Is that not a valid argument that that little trolley doesn't represent rapid transit as it's defined by the MBTA communities law?
There are many who attempted to make that argument from the outset, even before the advisory was put out by my office, even before regulations were final. And it's crystal clear, and we've made it crystal clear along with Secretary Augustus and his team, that it is indeed a rapid transit community. People do use that line. The surrounding communities, also Quincy and Boston, of course, are rapid transit communities. And even communities that are further away are rapid transit communities. This has been defined and sort of clarified. I think it's something else that is driving this. I don't have all the details as to what's the why, but what I do know is we have an obligation to enforce the law as it is. We don't ask residents to agree to follow some laws and not the other. And so it's no different for any municipality. And folks have stepped up to be creative in our response and to frankly afford Milton and every other municipality the flexibility they need to do the development. Another concern that Milton had was had to do with location. It's just we don't have enough land to develop near the trolley. And the administration, we heard that, and the regulations were changed and shifted to create more flexibility so they could do it farther away from the transit line, but still close enough. So we've been flexible and reasonable every step of the way. And there was some commentary that we're only using a stick. That's total nonsense. Our job is, of course, we don't want to sue municipalities, but in this particular case, we've worked with them every step of the way. And in order to bring about enforcement, we're asking the court to do just that.
As you sit here this Sunday morning, is there a chance that this never gets to court and this just gets figured out between the state and Milton? Or do you feel like at some point you're going to be in a courtroom on this?
I hope we can figure it out. I think there are numerous municipalities that are in compliance, hoping that we figure this out. The MMA and other municipal associations also want us to figure this out, and we have always said we want to. But there are a select few within Milton that are pushing against us figuring it out, and that's unfortunate. But we want to, of course, do our part to bring about more housing in the Commonwealth and to enforce our laws. That's our chief responsibility, and we cannot be wavering on that.
Any other cities on your radar? Any towns on your radar that may be trying to go this route?
No, if anything, like I said at the beginning, municipalities are working in partnership. It's our job to make sure that we're offering them technical assistance, we're being responsive. We're going to continue to put out further guidance, which this team has been doing already, to make it easier for folks to be able to build this housing that is so critically necessary for so many different reasons.
All right, something else that's critically necessary, healthcare. Steward Healthcare and its hospitals are in financial crisis. If any of its 9 hospitals shut down, there could be a dramatic domino effect. We were told by folks in the business last week in the healthcare system. Governor Healy said, and others have said, that for years they didn't comply with the requirement that they be transparent and ignored legal orders to provide that information. Is that criminal behavior?
So one thing I will stress is it is a dire situation. It is indeed a crisis, what is happening with Steward. So our team is breaking this up in a few different steps. In the immediate, we have to make sure that folks have access to health care, that the folks that are providing that critical care, our nurses, our doctors, are being paid. And so we're working with the Secretary of Health and Human Services and health and every other health agency, including DPH and the administration, to deliver on that. We're also concerned about the safety and the quality of care within these Steward institutions, and so we're actively at the table informing and doing as much as we can. They do need to be more transparent, and that's the second piece, which is continuing to push for more information, more documents. We have tools to be able to do that. I can't speak to every detail of that strategy because I can't at this stage because it's ongoing, but pushing them to release the information that we need, that the state needs to be able to do not only the immediate step of providing quality care, but also what accountability looks like for them. I will stress everything is on the table. As we get more information, as people reach out to our office to file complaints, we will look at civil, criminal, the whole spectrum of what remedies are available to hold Steward accountable for creating the situation. And then lastly, I know the Senate President and maybe the Speaker and others are also asking the question, how do we get here? So looking at long-term policy changes, working with the Health Policy Commission, I have appointees on that commission on for-profit involvement in healthcare delivery and so much more. So we'll continue to look at that. So everything is on the table. I ask folks to give us some time as we work through each step. But we understand the seriousness of the issue, and we're working really hard to solve it.
Speaking of your radar, are there any other hospitals or medical facilities that you're concerned about that are going the way of Steward?
I will say our Medicaid fraud division, which is actively working to protect not only the integrity of the Mass Health program, for example, but also the quality of care for our elders in long-term care facilities. We have active, I feel like, indictments almost, or cases, I should say, and some indictments, frankly, regularly, because the quality of care and the harm and abuse and neglect to our elders is significant, even right here in Massachusetts. And there is some for-profit involvement in long-term care facilities. And so it has always been on the radar of this incredible team that I have the privilege of working with every day to question, well, what does that mean, short-term, long-term? And I think Steward has brought the question around for-profit healthcare private sector involved in healthcare, what that may mean. It doesn't automatically mean it's a negative thing, but greater accountability may be needed. And so through the Steward situation, our Medicaid fraud division's work, we're actively looking at this in a holistic way. And we will come back to the public when we have more to share.
Governor Healy says that she wants Steward out of the state. Any role that your office may play in a process to get them out?
We play a significant role, along with the Health Policy Commission and others. I mean, we review the transactions of mergers or anything else that a nonprofit institution is thinking about, including in the healthcare context. That's no different here in the for-profit context. So if someone, for example, another institution wants to come in and acquire a piece of the Steward system, we're actively involved in that. Hence why we've been at the table at the very beginning, problem solving, and then, of course, thinking about the question of accountability for Steward and just the larger policy discussions that we need to have here.
So these are some big picture issues that affect people regularly.
That's right.
I know you just recently attended last year Frank Bellotti's 100th birthday, former Attorney General. He was my Attorney General growing up. My mom must have been on the phone with him in the office weekly, writing letters weekly. Can you talk about what some of the things your office does on a sort of small level, not small level, but for the everyday person, the consumer stuff? What do you do for folks?
So I have to just say, Frank Bellotti is a legend. He has been supportive since the very beginning, and he looks fabulous and amazing. 100 years old, and he looks better than some others that I interact with. And I say it all the time. And he modernized the AG's office here and nationally. He is well regarded and respected nationally as well. And so we're continuing to think about how we expand and build upon his legacy and everyone else who came before. On the constituent services, we're actively working with consumers every day. We just put out a report yesterday through our card division, our consumer specialists that are on the phones every day helping folks navigate healthcare concerns related to used auto sales, and I bought a car, it was defective, everything having to do with our kids and child labor law enforcement. So it's consumer related, but it's also wage theft and economics. And so we're reminding folks as we do this work of technical assistance through various divisions of the office that we get that affordability is the number one thing that folks are talking about. It's too expensive to live in Massachusetts. Healthcare is too expensive. Childcare, my food, and there's a direct role we play in putting money back into the pockets of workers, of residents, of constituents. In our strategic plan, we just rolled it out. We want folks to pay attention to that, to follow us at MassAGO, which is on our handle, because in that report you'll see a lot of detail about how we do that. How do we put money back into the pockets of workers and residents is significant and substantial, and we want folks to engage in that work with us.
We know another big issue the state is facing is the influx of migrants. Governor Healy has made strides to get these folks work authorization permits. In terms of what your office looks at from an oversight standpoint, a fairness standpoint, what are you all keeping an eye on when it comes to making sure these migrants are treated fairly and child labor laws aren't violated? We know your office has taken David Busters and Duncan to court over child labor violations. What are you all looking at in that aspect?
A few things. I will say, we are obviously a Commonwealth and a state that welcomes folks, and we've done it for generations of immigrants before. And we want to continue that value system going forward. And so I'm proud of how our state has responded to receive migrants at unprecedented levels. And this is a statewide issue and a national issue. We're figuring out what our lane is. One is we put out a grant for legal aid organizations, close to $800,000 last year, to organizations that are on the front lines of helping folks get work permits. In addition to that, to making sure they're not being discriminated against, that their children are getting access to educational services that they are entitled to, and so much more. In addition to that, we're, like anyone else, telling the Biden administration, you got to do a little bit more here, not only in terms of more money. We led the effort with other AGs across the country. Our office led that effort to push them on the work permits. It was taking too long for someone to get a work permit to go to work. And in this instance, at times, I think it was over 8 months or longer, which is just absurd, especially as we look at our system is in crisis. People want to work. They want to work. So how do we make it easier? So we're doing our part. And on the enforcement piece on child labor laws, which, of course, shows up in the immigrant context, but also with residents and citizens here, It's substantial. So we're prioritizing all things related to our kids. I'm a mother of 2 young boys. The well-being of our kids is important, not just their mental health, but also their economics. So we talk about putting money back into the pockets of workers. We want to do the same for our kids who are going to work and sometimes not getting paid. And so we're prioritizing that. And I'm really blessed to work with our Fair Labor Division and so many others who are doing this work really well.
All right. We have still got plenty more to talk about with Attorney General Campbell, including the recent lawsuit filed against local white supremacist groups.
Plus, what we've learned about consumer protection laws, dealing with rogue contractors and their victims. Stay with us.
Welcome back to At Issue. Our guest this Sunday morning is Massachusetts Attorney General Andrea Joy Campbell. All right, for the past 2 years, our investigative team has been very busy dealing with contractors, allegedly or sometimes convicted, shady contractors, folks who are going out there to members in Massachusetts community members and saying, hey, I can get this job done for you. And in the end, these folks are getting robbed of tens of thousands of dollars. Contractors start the job and then just disappear. Many of the victims that we talk to say that they go to local law enforcement because they feel that they have been wronged, only for law enforcement to turn around and say this is a civil matter. We spoke to NBC 10 legal analyst Michael Coyne about why that is and about maybe some ways to change that. We want to play a soundbite from him and then get your reaction on the other side.
In order to charge someone criminally for fraud, it becomes a question of intent. Did they have the intent to defraud? And when we talk about intent, that means you have to get into someone's head at the time, and that's very, very difficult to ultimately provide satisfactory proof beyond a reasonable doubt. I think the legislature has to get involved and has to decide that the crime, in essence, should be what we call a strict liability crime. If you take a consumer's deposit and fail to do at least 50% of the work that's covered under that deposit, then you violated the statute.
So it would seem to a lot of folks, if you say you're going to do a job for me, take my money and then go away and don't come back, that's a criminal act. But as we just heard from Michael, it can be difficult to maybe prove in court. Are the laws designed to protect consumers in these cases?
I think the laws are designed to protect consumers. I think our civil statutes probably are stronger to enforce than maybe the criminal side of things. But it depends on the fact pattern. It depends on what the scenario is. Consumer protection, of course, is at the top of our list. We're hearing about scams all the time. Folks call our consumer specialists and say, I paid for a service and I wasn't paid. Sometimes, and many times, I would say, we're able to deal with that person who was attempting to take that person's money and provide restitution and get their money back. Of course, we see this in the context of seniors, quite a bit, an uptick in scams. We're able to do the same thing with our seniors. We just established an elder justice unit to focus on our seniors and to make sure that work that we do across the office is intersectional, because I think every scam we're seeing, if you look at the numbers we're collecting, the demographic most affected is seniors. So whether in the contractor context, cryptocurrency, or something else. And so we get complaints, we look into them, we do our best and darndest, frankly, to make sure folks get their money back. And if there is a pattern or something else we can pass on to our Crim Bureau to look into, they will. And so if folks have concerns about anyone stealing their money or taking their money from them in different schemes, don't hesitate to reach out to our office. We encourage that. 617-727-8400. Also via our website, of course, online as well. We want to make ourselves accessible. We can't be helpful if people don't reach out.
Anything that your office and maybe conjunction with the legislature can do to either play a more preventative role or be better reactive to the issues that these folks are facing?
It's such a great question, twofold. When we put out our strategic plan, we said we want to talk about the tools of the office. One is litigation, which we know can be time-consuming, but we do have what we call our community engagement training, Know Your Rights. So we're out there every day saying to folks, if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. If it's the deal is too good to be true, it probably is. Just to be mindful that people are out there, professionals, trying to scam you. If you are looking to retain a contractor or something else, get some more information on that person. Look at their references. Call other folks who've used them. And that doesn't always solve the issue, but we are often talking about ways in which folks, if they know their rights and ways to get ahead of some of these things, we can sort of fend off any scams. And then the other piece is our policy and government tool is significant. We're constantly at the State House pushing for all types of legislative reforms. This might be an area, depending on the range and number of cases we're seeing in this context. For gun legislation, for example, which is not quite this. We can't go after ghost guns, for example, even with our existing laws. We ran up to the State House, of course, to work with the House and Senate to expand our protections and provisions there with respect to ghost guns. We can do the same in the consumer context, which we will always explore and do if necessary. But we encourage folks just to reach out to our office because, sadly, the average person still doesn't know the AG's office exists and that we do more than criminal enforcement in terms of taking guns and drugs off the street. We also do a lot when it comes to consumer protection.
I want to quickly talk about an issue that you've cared about when you were city councilor in Boston, and that's police reform. What's going on with your office in that effort?
So we just got off the ground our Police Accountability Unit, which is one of our new units, actually along with our Gun Violence Prevention Unit, 2 units off the ground, that the goal is for them to work hand in hand. And one is it's about building trust, right? And I know that from my city council days as the chair of the Committee on Public Safety and Criminal Justice. There is law enforcement every day out there doing a really tough job. In the office, we have a state police unit I oversee that works in partnership with the larger state police. We're working with local law enforcement every day. But we also know that there is still disparities in racial bias and other things that show up in our policing model. And if we're going to work collectively to change that, those cases that might come forward, we have to take very seriously. So the legislature gave us significant authority to take that on with pattern and practice investigations. So thank you for the authority, but if you have no one focused on this work, well, that's a problem. So we brought in a deputy director who was in the office already doing some of this work. We'll continue to expand that team and to direct resources to the work so we can be more impactful.
All right, last thing I want to ask you about, we got about a minute left. NSC 131, neo-Nazis in Massachusetts. We know your office has been dealing with these folks, working in conjunction with other law enforcement agencies. New Hampshire also going after them. What sort of collaboration is being done between not just law enforcement, but also folks out there online, those internet sleuths who are finding these people and approaching offices and saying, this is behavior that you need to be aware of?
Everyone should be concerned about an NSC 131, which is a neo-Nazi group, as they describe, that believes in a certain population being in Massachusetts, and that's for pure white folks. And we're not going after them because of those views. As I've stressed, I wouldn't probably attend the meetings, but for the conduct. They are targeting folks, patrolling neighborhoods, terrorizing communities, blocking access to public accommodations because they don't like what's happening inside. All of these are violations of our civil rights law, as well as our public accommodations law, nuisance, you name it. I'm proud of the Republican AG from New Hampshire who followed lead and also filed a suit based on this behavior that's happening in New Hampshire. So it's a bipartisan effort to say this doesn't just affect the people they're targeting because they are different and identified differently. This affects all of us. And the fact that they started in Massachusetts, where we say we care about everyone and the human rights of everyone, we should all be concerned about that. And so we're taking this on, and we're not wasting any time. As it unfolds, we'll keep folks updated, but really proud of the team and their work on this effort.
Are you and other AGs concerned about election violence this year?
Possibly. I think everything's on the table. Voter suppression is very real, particularly in other states. Folks working against people being able to access the ballot, which is the basic principle of any democratic country. And so this 2024 election, as divisive as it already is, will continue to get worse. Another reason people should pay attention. If they want us to be successful in being able to push forward all the things I just described in this segment, we need a partner in the White House, and frankly, that only partner to deliver is our current president and Vice President Biden and Harris.
All right. Attorney General Andrea Joy Campbell, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Remember, always, you can listen to us on the Taking Issue podcast. A new episode dropped on Friday. Sue, Matt, and I talk about the presidential race now that Nikki Haley is out. Go to NBC10Boston.com/@issue to listen or download that wherever you get your favorite podcast.
All right, next week, next Sunday, we're going to examine the crisis in our healthcare system from the workers' perspective. The problems at Steward Healthcare's hospital threatens to add that extra strain to healthcare professionals who are already stretched thin. We're going to hear from some of those folks.
Yeah, we're also going to take a look at the state of Latino education in Massachusetts and the diversity challenge that a lot of the state faces when it comes to getting teachers in the classroom. And one more thing before we go.
Yeah, special announcement time. Starting next Sunday, it's going to look a little different at the table because Cory's going to be taking some time off. Cory, what are you going to be doing?
Before you jump to any conclusions, no, Sue did not drive me into a sabbatical.
My wife and I
I are about to welcome our first child into the world, so I'm going to take a few months off to get to know him, be a new dad, and everything that involves. Then I'll be right back for the middle of the general election. Looking forward to that. That is it for this edition of At Issue. I'm Cory Smith.
And I'm Sue O'Connell. Enjoy your day.